remotely conducted open meeting. As a preliminary matter, this is Rich Letarte, Chairman of the Board at the Lunenburg Board of Assessors. I will do a roll call to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Rena Swayze.
Swayze present.
Louis Franco.
Lou Franco, present.
Sheila Craigen.
Sheila Craigen, present.
And Heather Lemieux and Julie Belliveau.
Present.
Present.
Okay. Good morning or good afternoon. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel, and that this meeting of the Lunenburg Board of Assessors is being conducted remotely. The town of Lunenburg, in response to the COVID-19 coronavirus, is currently following the guidance from the Lunenburg Board of Health, Mass Department of Public Health, and the CDC regarding the virus and steps communities can take to prevent the spread, and all town facilities are currently closed to the public. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. Excuse me. The order, which you can find posted on the town website on the COVID-19 Information Center page, accessed through the town manager's webpage, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the Lunenburg Board of Assessors is convening by video conference via Zoom app, Facebook Live, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Again, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and may take care, please take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. We'll now turn to the first item on the agenda, and the agenda really being the discussion of the resumes and applications with regards to the position of town assessor. We have seven applicants, and it looks like all of them all of them but one have pretty good assessing experience, and I'm really at a loss as to how to conduct this. Heather, I'm wondering if I can count on you to give us some guidance.
Yes. So I would say the next step would be to set up interviews. And what I would suggest is that just one member of the Board of Assessors participate in that screening of the applicants. Otherwise, it would have to all be a public meeting. The charter also, it doesn't go into process and procedure, but what it does reference is any appointment by the town manager of the principal assessor must be ratified by the Board of Assessors within 15 days, unless ratified sooner.
So you're saying it would be could we do it on a one-on-one with? Are these like executive board meetings where it's just a member of the Board of Assessors plus an applicant?
And they wouldn't be public meetings because it wouldn't be a public board. It would just be an interview with one Board of Assessor member, myself, I would suggest Julie, the three of us be part of that interview panel to review the applicants and then bring forth a finalist.
Okay. And would you suggest that the same member of the board interview all the applicants, or do you think?
Yes, it would probably be through. It would be through Zoom. It'd be a virtual interview, not in person.
What I mean is, should one of us should only one of us interview everybody,
Yes,
along with you and Julie?
yes. That's what I'm recommending.
Comments?
Well, in general, that sounds like the best next first step. As a matter of protocol, do we need to grant an interview to every applicant that applied, or can we eliminate any of this? Do we feel like we can eliminate any of these or right off the bat? Well, I guess we'll get into the substance of that shortly. Let's talk more procedure for the moment.
Well, that's a good question.
This is not me trying to get out of doing this, but I have a logic here. For, if you're willing, on the one hand, I think both of us, Rich, as far as, I mean, I think Rena is uniquely qualified to sort of identify what's important and what we need for this position. I'm not volunteering anybody. I'm just making points here. All right.
Okay, great.
Then on the other hand, you are the chair, the current chair, Rich. So that comes with a certain logic too. And third, I'm neither of those. And at this point, and I'm also, of course, full-time, full day, working all the time. So I'm just putting out that there's a rationale here for either one of you doing this.
Well, it really, I think, comes down to me, because we do have a little bit of an issue with Rena and Rena.
Right, right.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I was
That
wondering.
lets me out.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I guess that leaves it up to me. So we should probably set up a schedule and notify each one of these applicants, work a schedule out among Julie, Heather, and I, and we come out and have Sheila notify each one. I'd like to pass the buck, right, Sheila?
That's okay. Actually, I have a question. I don't know if Rena could answer it or not. My thought has, and I'm all for having a full-time assessor, but where we're going through this transition with NCAMA into IAS world, it's just a huge project right now. I know RG is really stepping it up and taking care of it, but we're not going to be fully transitioned. We're going to be doing preliminaries in the old system. So I don't know if, I'm just worried that if we have someone that comes on and is not familiar with CAMA or the new IAS world, how that's going to work out.
Well, each one of them have noted on their resume and application that whether they're familiar with CAMA, and I can't remember who is and who isn't.
Oh, okay.
But we did, if you recall, we did file or put out an RFP for 1 year. And this was to address this very, very situation, that to give RRG a chance to go 1 year and help us with the transition. It would also give you more experience in the job and excuse me, and I think buy us some time.
That's in the RFP.
That's, if we decide to accept our RRG's proposal, we had put it out just for 1 year, and with this in mind, we had the three of us along with Louise had talked about this.
I understand that, but I'm under this. I'm not aware that they even applied, that they even put in for the RFP.
They have not. They did not, and are not planning on responding to the RFP that we put
My
out.
understanding.
Oh, so, and no one else has come up to the plate.
Rich?
Yeah.
This might be an opportunity to work with Tyler on their program called the T&M, Time and Maintenance. our time and materials. So we might want to reach out to Kyle Marshall from Tyler about bringing Tyler in to help do some of the interim adjustments, or just do whatever they need to do to help us get through this first coming tax period. Tyler is the one that has our system,
The current system.
the current system, the one we're transitioning into. So it might be worth it to reach out to Tyler, where they do this program called T&M, time and it's either time and materials or time and maintenance or something like that. I had spoken to Kyle Marshall briefly about it about 2 months ago. So we might want to bring Tyler in, because then you would only be paying for, it's like you're only paying them on a daily rate. So whatever they need to do, whether it be an interim adjustment or getting, getting help with getting started on the new system, it might be something to think about.
Would they be doing essentially the same thing that RRG is doing?
No, because they do not send people out. None of the big vendors, and this is probably why they wouldn't apply, because they don't send out people. They're reval companies. They'll help with revaluations, software training, anything like that. But none of them did what Haral did. They don't put somebody in your office on a full-time basis. But they will work with their communities on doing things like the interim adjustment coming up. Getting the fall tax bills ready, the values ready. They would come out, and it probably would be on a
Per diem basis.
per diem basis.
Yeah.
But it's something we might want to look into.
Well, I have to defer to Sheila here, because we're dealing with one person, maybe even part-time. What kind of extra help would be required in the office?
As far as the transition,
Yeah, if we went along with what Rena suggested, bringing Tyler on to do a lot of that, I guess, administrative type work, and then leave you to handle the office. What else? We've always had 1.5 people in there. You and Louise, actually more than 1.5.
yeah, I mean, I would like to think if we have a full-time assessor, it would work, me with my hours and that one assessor. Hopefully we won't need to have the second part-time person, but I don't really know. I'm still,
Well, then I
still have a lot to learn, and I want to learn.
Then I think we've got to proceed then looking at hiring a full-time assessor. Perhaps we can bring the Tyler people on to give us a little bit of an assist in the transition period, in particular if they're being paid on a per diem basis. See what they would estimate and go from there. Clear it through Heather.
Mr. Chair,
Pardon me?
if I may, I think it would make more sense and would prefer keeping RRG on in the interim basis because of continuity purposes, and they're already familiar with what we're doing. If the plan is to transition to a principal assessor, so for them to give us a monthly rate for the time being, not a full year contract of what they're already continuing to do and provide for services.
Okay, their contract is up on June 30th, correct?
Right, so this would be an extension.
So have you spoken to Harold to see if he would do that?
He indicated that in his response, which I forwarded to the board, that they're willing to provide the same level of service as they are currently. They just couldn't respond to the RFP the way it was written, providing a full-time assessor. They're not structured that way. They provide an assortment of personnel.
Well, actually, that was our idea, I believe, initially to put the RFP out for a year, and then we made some additions, and maybe I have that. To me, that's a good idea to just continue that until we get a full timer on board, and work from there. Sheila.
Could I just say, I mean, we'd have to find out from Harold where he's at as far as the transition, because they could be fully done, everything that they need to do from CAMA into IAS, and it could be another year before we get approved by the DOR. So I really just don't know how that's going to work. I guess Harold would have to be the best judge of that.
Yeah, but would we have to keep it, if the work was done, would we have to keep him on as well as
I don't know.
Rena, do you have any
Because right
thoughts?
now I'm doing double entry, and we have to keep doing double entry into both systems until we're approved. And there's just no idea, no guarantee when we'll be approved.
Is he saying it's going to take a year to get approved? Because
No. They told us right from the get-go, first come, first serve when you've done everything you need to do, but there's no guarantees. So every town right now is assuming that we're going to have to do preliminary bills from CAMA, not the new system, because there's just still so much uncertainty.
So Sheila, are you saying ask Harold where he's at in the conversion? Like at what point?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, I really don't know. I know they've been working hard at it, but I don't know everything that they do, to be honest. I know they've had to go through every single property record card, and there's still so much more that needs to be done.
I thought
That's just stuff that we were told at our training meetings, and that was months and months ago.
I thought he had to complete the desktop review before July 1st.
I don't know if that's changed with all this coronavirus stuff. I'm not sure.
Well, in his email, if I read from it, and this was from April 29th, they've had no fewer than 6 employees working on Lunenburg's post-conversion data review required by DOR. This tedious task required the resketching of over 800 buildings and property by property, field by field verification that all assessment data came across to the new Tyler IS World CAMA system. We have completed our work and are awaiting DOR's review.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay. So I guess I just don't know how the transition would happen, or you just relieved of CAMA altogether from the company itself?
So
I
from
think
what-
it would be a worthwhile to call our field rep in DOR, who is Becky.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
she's going to be our representative going forward. She couldn't do it last time around because she hadn't been there long enough,
Great.
and we had Scott Santangelo. So I think either speaking to Becky or Scott Santangelo about how we proceed from here would be the next best thing to do.
Okay.
So from what Heather and Sheila say, we're ready to go. Is that correct? We're ready for.
Conversion is complete.
Say again?
He said the conversion is complete. They're waiting DOR's review. So I think what Rena said, talking to DOR to see how long that approval process takes.
So basically, we're in the queue. We're in line for somebody to review it and give us the approval.
I
Is
would
that
say
correct?
so.
So once that's done, and I get confused with this, a full-time assessor could virtually step in if he's familiar with the Tyler system. Then we're not talking about a conversion. We're not talking about going from one to another because that's already been done.
You're not going to find anybody yet that is familiar with Tyler's system because it's not been up and running. It's being tested in a lot of communities, but I don't think a lot of the communities have totally converted over to it yet. Because it's not, you're not talking about a Vision or a Patriot that's been out there for years, and your applicants are used to that type of camera system. It should be similar to the Patriot and the Vision systems, but still, you're not going to get anybody that's actually used that system as yet.
So you aren't familiar with it either, Rena?
No.
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 Well, I think the next step is, go ahead.
I think the problem will come in the fall. If we can get DOR's approval to do to switch over and use the Tyler system, then maybe just having somebody come out and help where it's a new system and help with the intramural adjustments, and that way, that would be, I would suggest Tyler for that because it is their system. But as far as Herald continuing on, maybe 6 months, if anything, just until he gets the intramural adjustment done. But I'd be more apt to go with Tyler.
We know that.
Well, no, only because Tyler, it's their system.
It's
And
this.
there really isn't any community. Air is going through a conversion on it. And when I talked to Tom Hogan in Air, I talked to him this past December. He said they were still in the process of learning the system. They hadn't converted yet either. It would be interesting to talk to Tom and see how things are coming in Air now. See how long it took them to get approved. And if you want, I'll call Tom. If you want, I'll give Tom Hogan in Air a call this week.
Would you please?
Yes, I will.
So we don't even know if they've been approved yet.
Right.
So number one, we don't know if they've been approved, and number two, we don't know how the transition is going.
You know, I actually would be willing to reach out also to Joanne Graciano. She's the bureau chief in the Bureau of Accounts, Bureau of Local Assessment. I would be more than happy. Joanne and I go way back, and explain our situation to her and find out about the conversion. I'd be more than happy to call Joanne Graciano.
Okay, would you please?
Yep.
All right, so I think we're at the point where we've got to set up appointments, get some information from others who are going through this, and perhaps have another meeting. Sheila, comments?
No, I'm listening.
Lou?
Yeah, I'm coming. Now there's no confusion as to who we mean by Lou anymore. So I guess, well, maybe before the idea of setting up appointments, just maybe having I don't know how deep we're getting into the substance of these today, but, are there any we can eliminate? Do we want to talk about whether there are any of these that we can eliminate, or?
There's only one that I would eliminate, and that would be Linda McQuaid. And the reason is that she's only been on the job in Westford for 6 months, and her previous job she's only on the job for half a year. And just from that point of view, I think she's a little bit. She's taken the DOR 101, but I don't think she's got much experience assessing one. That's from what I can read.
Did
Anybody
you
else?
say Westford?
Yeah, she's from
Westford.
Westford.
Yeah, all right. I know who she is, yeah.
Did you have an opinion on that, Rena?
I know she's been working with Paul Pluth. He's the chief assessor over there. I know I saw Paul at Christmas time also. And I know he hired her, and he had a woman that had worked there for like 15 to 20 years that went on to another community. And unfortunately, this is the problem. The seasoned assessors are either working or they're ready to retire. So you've got a whole new group coming up through the ranks. And I don't know if she's had, because Paul runs a pretty tight ship. I think she's more like a data collector, if I'm not mistaken. But, I think she would probably need a little bit more time on the job. So.
I independently kind of came to the same conclusion, Rich, as you did. Do we just want to make a decision as a board to pare this down and make this simpler? I mean,
right.
We would take her maybe if the other 6 said no, right? So, so do we just whittle the list down, at least by 1?
Well,
I would recommend that.
I may.
Okay.
I wouldn't mention anyone by name as far as applications.
All right. Sorry.
Meeting, and they may have not indicated to their current employer they were applying. So we try to
Good point. All right.
protect their privacy until the point where it can be made public.
So Heather, is there a way for the board to go through the applications and resumes received and go back to Rich, and then the 3 of us could then talk about it, not publicly?
Technically, no, because that would be, they're sharing their opinions outside of a public.
Right. Okay. So the 3 of us then, me, you, and Rich could go through.
Yeah. I mean, given that there are only a limited number of applications,
Yeah.
I see a real harm in interviewing all of them and then going from there. It's not like it's 20.
Right. Yeah, there were a couple others that were received, but they mainly realtors. They have their real estate license and doing appraisal, so I didn't send those to you. There was one that actually looked really good, and I think he's from Illinois. So I'm not sure if he plans on relocating. He didn't indicate that, but I did not send that one either. If you want, go ahead.
Just having an idea right now, maybe speaking more broadly as far as what you're looking for. So the minimum requirements, the people that you want to interview or have.
Right. So I kind of did that with that Excel spreadsheet based on what we said the requirements were in the job posting. It pretty simple to look at. It wasn't much of it, but just trying to lay the applicants out side by side, showing the years of experience, the level of education that they have, if any. I think one came in, well, without getting too specific, you could see that list, but.
I actually added to your Excel spreadsheet, Julie.
Okay.
I put on, and this is just for me alone, estimated age, trying to figure out when they.
No, we can't
I
do
know,
that.
That's not going anywhere. Also, hometown,
Yeah.
from a commuting point of view. You know, you get
Yeah.
this guy who's commuting to Palmer. Well, I took my map out and I saw that he lives in Barry, and Palmer and Lunenburg are actually about equidistant. And then years on current job and years on the previous job. That was just something else that.
Yeah. I try not to make a determination based on where they're located.
No, but this is me. This is
Yeah. That's fine if that's something that you look at. I don't.
So it's not for general publication.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, I'll tell you.
All right, so the next step, you want me to contact well, I guess I need to know the availability when we can conduct this, and then I can contact the applicants to set up a Zoom meeting. What I like to do is have a list of questions that we'll all use and rotate and ask all applicants. We can make our notes on that sheet as we go through each candidate, just to, kind of score them equally, if that's something that you're interested in.
Well, that's a good idea. I'm wondering if Rena and Lou could put in certain questions, more technical. Well,
Exactly.
actually, more than some real technical questions, and then maybe you and Heather and I could either get together physically or on Zoom to go over them before we meet with anybody.
Yeah, I think if they email me the questions, I can compile it into the sheet that I use, and I can email that to you and Heather, and we can look at them that way. I would like to ask some more non-technical questions, but I would love you experts to do the technical aspect of the questioning.
Well, okay. And then perhaps after you've compiled your questions, we've gone over them, we send them back to Lou and Rena just for one last look-see before we notify anybody.
That should be fine.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm thinking maybe 10 questions total.
I would
Yeah,
say, what do you
that's
think, Rena?
Yeah, I wouldn't go more than 10 because you want to give them a little bit of time to expand on each question.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I used to have a list of questions for interviews.
Yeah.
And it could very well be, I don't know if the MAAO might still have, they used to have something like that.
I think you do.
The listserv we can
Oh,
select.
yeah. I could do that. I mean, even just pulling from our job description, I think that covers the areas. Maybe Sheila, you might have some area that you're interested in this applicant answer, something on, how the office functions and so forth. The
Right.
scenario.
So I'll think about it and I'll email you.
Yep. You can
Okay.
do that. Yep. Yeah, I think
All
that's the best way. Yeah. So let's put a deadline on this.
Well, today's the 11th.
Yep.
Is 2 weeks too short? 25th?
How about
To put questions together.
Yeah.
questions within a week? Is that,
1 week? Okay.
yeah, and then we can set up interviews after that week.
All right.
Yeah.
So we should have the questions by May 18th.
Mhm.
Friday would be great, but Monday works. I'd like to give the applicants, at least a week to prepare. Granted, they're not coming on site. This would all be through Zoom, but if they are currently working, I want to give them enough notice to rearrange for the Zoom interview.
But do you think we're going to be open in 2 weeks?
This would all be via Zoom anyways, regardless.
You prefer to do it that way?
Yes. We won't have in-person interviews.
Okay.
Could I just ask a quick question? Out of the 6 or 7, I forget which it was, applicants we got, how many of them are currently working in an assessor's office? Do we know?
They all are.
All of them are.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so,
So interviews.
is there any,
Yeah.
Sheila? Oh, Lou?
Yeah, I had a protocol question to raise, just in the future today or anytime in the future. If we need to reference candidates for purposes of discussion, would an acceptable way of doing that be to reference them by their column number in the Excel sheet? Do we want to give them each a code? How do we do that to identify candidates for discussion? You know, to not do it publicly.
That's why I was saying maybe it'd be better to look at the criteria for which you want
Okay.
to have interviews with them. So a minimum number of years of experience, a level of certification, that type of, so it's not specific to the individual.
Okay.
I mean, there's some applicants that check off all the boxes of everything that we've asked, you know, of years of experience, the education level, the certifications, and then there's some that don't have that, but they have the combination, which
Yeah.
is also okay too. So,
Well, in the long run, it's going to be subjective anyway.
yep. And like Heather said, you know, 7 applicants figure maybe an hour each. It shouldn't take that long, but if it does take an hour, then, you know, we'll spread it over 2 days. Probably plan for an hour-long interview.
All right. So I guess we'll be waiting for you then, Julie, right? Yeah.
I'm actually waiting for you.
Oh. What are you waiting for?
The questions.
Oh, the questions.
Yeah, that's going to trigger it. So let's get those questions together. Sheila, what do we get? 6, so maybe 2 questions each, and narrow it down from there. Maybe some will be duplicates. But yeah, I think using the job description as a guide for asking the questions, that's what we look for in this applicant, will help us draft our questions for the applicant. So if I can get those by the 18th, I'll be able to compile them and get them out that day as well, depending what time they come in.
And
Sounds good.
Okay.
And then schedule interviews for what, the week of the 26th?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. So if in the meantime, Heather and Rich, if you can throw out some availability the week of the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
When's Memorial Day? Is that
The
Monday?
25th. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. So we'll look at like the 26th through the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I hear birds. Does somebody have a bird?
No,
No? Oh, I can hear tweeting. It's nice.
or maybe it's the president.
Maybe it could be. Oh, that's funny.
Okay.
All
Now,
right.
can we count on Rena for more technical stuff as far as questions go?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
You can have my 2 questions. Just kidding.
Okay.
Sheila, maybe you can do situationals
Yeah,
based on the office,
the office.
how that works with either RRG or Tyler or just the flow of the office. If you can think of anything that you want to know to help you, in your position. What are you looking for in a candidate?
Okay.
Maybe something along those lines?
Yeah. Okay.
Or, okay.
I'm thinking about it right now. Okay.
All right.
All right, so that is finished. Is there anything else on the agenda, Sheila?
No,
This is it.
this is it.
This is it. So I guess, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Well, thank you very much, all of you. Sorry to have ruined your afternoon, but we'll be talking to you shortly.
Yes.
So
Great.
we'll,
I had already planned on, I'm sorry, I had already planned on another 80 minutes of ruination, so this is a bonus as far as I'm concerned.
I'm just happy to see people, so.
go out and rake your lawn.
Mine's wet.
Raining.
Mine's very wet.
Yeah.
Raining.
Yeah, my phone's sitting in a bag of rice as we speak right now.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll be in touch with you, Julie, with submitting stuff. Thank you very
Email.
much, all of you.
All right.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.